All right, welcome back to Ahmedabad Real Estate Review. We are back for our third episode, and today...
Third one already.
I know, right? Time flies when you're talking property.
Yeah.
And today we're diving into something that I think is
Pretty important.
absolutely vital. If you are even considering, like, just thinking about dipping your toes into the Ahmedabad
and
Gandhinagar property market.
The whole region, yeah.
We are talking about, and this is a first for our show, the Real Estate Regulatory Authority.
RE.
RRA.
It's a big one.
Yes, it is. And it's a high time we did this because, you know, for years, the real estate sector, it really was a bit like...
There's a bit of a jungle out there.
Yeah, navigating a maze, but blindfolded.
Yeah, you said it?
And RERA, which came into effect in 2016, it was really meant to, like, here's a map.
Here's a torch.
And a torchlight. Go figure it out.
Exactly.
But, you know, this isn't just some, like, legal jargon that we're throwing at you.
No.
This directly affects your hard-earned money.
Absolutely.
If you're looking to invest in Ahmedabad, especially,
Yeah.
and Ahmedabad's real estate, it's booming right now.
It's on fire.
It's absolutely on fire.
Yeah.
We've all heard the stories, maybe even whisper them ourselves, you know, about the days before RERA.
Oh, the Wild West days.
It was the wild, wild west. Projects stuck in, like, perpetual delays, developers playing hide and seek with your money.
Yeah, it wasn't always a pretty picture.
It really wasn't.
No.
So before RERA, it really felt like...
I mean, the buyers were at a disadvantage.
Yeah, they were sitting ducks.
Yeah, very little power and even less information, you know?
Yeah, it was tough. So RERA really aimed to change that power dynamic.
Level the playing field.
Bring in a system.
Checks and balances.
Checks and balances.
Okay.
So
yeah.
let's get right to it. What's the core idea behind RERA? And why should our listeners, especially those looking at Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar, why should they really pay attention?
Okay. Well, think of RERA, like, as the referee
Okay.
for the real estate game.
I like that.
It's there to make sure everyone plays by the rules. Love it.
Right. It came about to address those very problems we've touched on. The endless delays, the lack of transparency,
Oh, yeah.
and, let's be frank, some, well, less than ethical practices that were going on.
It happened.
Yeah. So now developers have a clear set of guidelines. They have to adhere to them.
Right.
They need to register their projects, be upfront about timelines,
Be honest.
finances, and be generally more answerable to the buyers.
Which is brilliant news if you are looking at property around here.
Oh, absolutely.
Ahmedabad's property market is buzzing.
It's a hive of activity.
It's like new projects are sprouting up like, I don't know.
Like mushrooms after the rain.
Like mushrooms after the rain.
You see them everywhere.
But with all that activity, I mean, there's also greater potential for things to, you know.
To go wrong.
Yeah. Go a bit sideways.
Absolutely.
Right.
Rapid growth without proper oversight, it can be a recipe for disaster.
Oh, yeah.
RERA provides that crucial oversight.
Yes.
It makes sure that this growth is sustainable.
And most importantly, that buyers can invest.
With confidence.
With more confidence, exactly.
It's about creating that level playing field.
That's it.
Now, remember those pre-ERA days? It felt like you needed a crystal ball more than a lawyer sometimes.
Oh, tell me about it.
You would hear about projects that just stopped.
Oh, yeah.
Or those surprise charges
Out of nowhere.
that would just pop up like uninvited guests at a wedding.
Exactly. Exactly.
How has RERA, like, what has it done to change that reality for us here in Ahmedabad?
Well, I think, for one, developers can't just put up a hoarding and start selling anymore.
Right.
They have to get their projects registered
With the authorities.
with the authorities first. And that registration process is pretty thorough. They have to provide detailed information about the project.
So they can't just, like, you know, wave their hands and be like, it's going to be great, trust us.
No more smoke and mirrors.
No, we're smoke and mirrors.
It's all out in the open.
Okay, and speaking of confidence, you know, I came across this statistic from Anorak Property Consultants, and I thought this was really interesting. They found that states with strong RERA implementation, they've seen a 25% drop in delayed projects.
Wow, that's significant.
That's huge.
That's a big chunk.
Yeah, and you can see how that would really inject confidence into investors, especially in a market like Ahmedabad.
Absolutely. That figure really speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It does.
About the effectiveness of a well-enforced regulatory framework.
Yes.
When buyers have evidence that projects are more likely to be completed on time, they're naturally more inclined to invest. It creates a virtuous cycle.
It does. It does.
Of trust and development.
Okay. So that gives us a good handle on why RERA is so important. Let's get down to, you know,
the nitty-gritty.
the brass tacks here.
Yeah.
What are the key things that our listeners absolutely need to know about RERA if they are considering buying property in Ahmedabad? This is like, you can't ignore this stuff.
Okay, sure. Let's start with mandatory registration. This is like the bedrock of RERA.
The foundation.
The foundation, exactly.
Yeah.
Before a developer can even advertise or sell like a single unit, they're legally obligated to register their project with the relevant RERA authority.
Right.
And for Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar,
Yes.
that means registration under the Gujarat RERA.
Gujarat RERA.
Yes.
Okay. So it's not just like a casual, oh, we're building something.
No. It's a legal process.
There's an official process.
Absolutely.
Legally binding.
It has to be done.
So what's the real impact of this? Like, what does this actually mean for buyers?
Accountability. Unregistered projects now face legal repercussions.
Oh, okay.
So, it acts as a deterrent
Right.
against unscrupulous operators, and it ensures that projects undergo a certain level of scrutiny.
Right, from the get-go.
Right from the beginning.
Okay, so that's a solid first step. What's the next crucial aspect we should be aware of?
Okay, so the second vital provision is the escrow account requirement.
Okay, escrow account.
This is where the financial security of the buyers really comes in.
Okay, this is important.
Yeah.
Right.
RERA mandates that developers must deposit a significant portion of the funds they receive from buyers, specifically 70%, into a dedicated escrow account.
70%.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
a big chunk.
That's a lot of money. What's the thinking behind that? Like, why earmark so much?
The main reason is to ensure that the money collected from buyers is actually used for the construction and completion of that specific project.
Right.
This significantly reduces the risk of developers diverting funds to other projects.
Oh, I see.
Or just, mismanaging them, which was a major cause of delays in the past.
Right. So it's like putting the money in a safe box.
Yeah, a safe box.
That can only be open to pay for the building of your future home.
That's a good analogy.
That must be a huge comfort for buyers, especially in Ahmedabad who, might have been lying awake at night thinking, where's my money going?
Exactly. It gives them peace of mind.
It does. Knowing that the money's safe and it's going to be used for the project they invested in.
Yeah, and it makes it much harder for developers to kind of just abandon a project.
Absolutely. Much harder.
Because of financial mismanagement.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so that escrow account rule, that's a game changer. What other safeguards does RERA put in place?
Okay, so another very important aspect is timely completion and compensation.
Okay, timely completion, that makes sense.
Yeah, so RERA holds developers legally responsible
Okay.
for delivering the project within the agreed-upon time frame.
Right.
If they fail to do so, they are liable to pay compensation to the buyers.
Oh, okay. Because, delays can really mess things up.
They can, absolutely. People.
Especially in a city like Ahmedabad that's growing so fast. People might be making plans.
Life plans, yeah.
Based on that possession date for work, for education,
schooling for children,
family reasons, all sorts of things.
Absolutely. And this isn't just a slap on the wrist.
Right.
The compensation can be significant. It puts real pressure on developers to stick to those timelines.
So it's like you make a commitment.
You deliver.
You deliver or you face the consequences.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good. So that shifts the onus onto the developers.
It does.
And it provides a safety net.
A safety net for the buyers.
For buyers who are left waiting.
Absolutely.
What about staying informed about the progress of the project? How does that work?
So that falls under the umbrella of transparency and disclosure.
Okay, transparency.
REPOR mandates that developers must provide regular and timely updates to buyers on the progress of the construction, any changes in approvals, any other key milestones related to the project.
So where do buyers get this information? Is there like a central place?
Yeah, most states, including Gujarat, have established their own dedicated RERA websites or portals. The Gujarat RERA portal is an invaluable resource. Buyers can access a wealth of information about registered projects.
So it's all there?
It's all there.
They can see, the official stuff.
They can track the project status, verify approvals, review financial details, even check the developer's track record.
So no more relying solely on, glossy brochures.
No more smoke and mirrors.
And sales pitches.
It's all out there.
You can see the real deal.
Exactly.
That's great.
Transparency is key.
It is. It builds confidence.
It does.
It reduces that kind of feeling of being in the dark.
Absolutely. And it empowers buyers to make informed decisions.
Okay, so we've covered registration, we've covered financial security, timelines, keeping buyers informed. What happens if Despite all these safeguards, a buyer has a grievance.
Right.
Or a dispute with the developer.
Okay, well, that's where grievance redressal comes in.
Grievance redressal.
RERA establishes a dedicated mechanism for buyers to file complaints and seek resolution for disputes with developers. This is a significant improvement over the old system.
Unlengthy legal processes.
Slow and cumbersome legal processes, yeah.
So instead of potentially getting stuck in court.
Years in court.
For years and years.
Yeah.
There's a more streamlined way to address these issues.
Exactly. RERA aims for a faster and more efficient resolution of disputes related to things like project delays, defects in construction, or any other breach of the sale agreement.
So it's a clear avenue.
It is.
For buyers to have their grievances heard.
And addressed. Much quicker than before.
Okay, that's good. This all sounds like a really positive step.
It is a positive step.
Towards creating a more trustworthy
and secure
environment for home buyers in Ahmedabad.
Absolutely.
Have you seen any, real-life examples?
I have, yeah.
Of how RERA has made a difference for people here?
Yeah. For example, I've met individuals who were initially hesitant to invest. Because they were worried about delays, which is a very valid concern.
Yeah, in the pre-RERA days.
Exactly.
So what happened?
Well, they were able to verify the developer's RERA registration and see their history of compliance.
Right.
And that gave them the confidence they needed to go ahead with their purchase. And everything went smoothly.
They got their property on time.
They did.
That's great.
Yeah, peace of mind.
Those are the kind of stories that really make it real.
They do.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's not just words on paper.
No, it's real people, real lives.
It's actually making a difference.
It is.
Any other examples you can share?
Yeah, so there are also stories of people who, unfortunately, faced losses in those unregistered projects before RERA.
Right.
And, they were understandably wary.
Yeah.
But the new regulations, I think, have helped them to regain trust. In the Ahmedabad real estate market.
And they've invested again.
They have. They've invested in RE registered projects. Yeah. And not only did these projects adhere to the timelines, but they actually saw good appreciation in value.
So they made their money back.
They did, within a relatively short period.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's like RERA helped them rebuild their faith in the system.
So it really does sound like it's fostering a more kind of balanced and reliable.
It is. It's leveling the playing field.
Leveling that playing field. Buyers feel more protected.
Absolutely.
And, credible developers can also benefit.
They can.
From this increased trust.
Increased trust and transparency.
All right. Well, this has been a really, really informative discussion.
It has.
Understanding RERA, it really feels like, a key.
It's essential knowledge.
It's essential knowledge.
For anyone looking to buy property here.
To unlock the complexity.
To navigate the market safely.
Of the Ahmedabad real estate landscape.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of Ahmedabad Real Estate Review.
Already.
I know. But don't worry, we've got a little sneak peek.
A little teaser.
A little teaser of what's coming up next time.
What's next?
We're going to be talking about the importance of title verification and land records for secure investments.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So make sure you tune in for that.
Very important.
Absolutely.
Fundamental stuff.
Now, before we sign off, a couple of things from us to you.
Right.
We would love to hear what's on your mind.
Yeah, what are you thinking?
What are your biggest questions or concerns when it comes to investing in property in Ahmedabad or Gandhinagar?
Send them our way.
Send us your thoughts. Send us your feedback. We might even tackle your questions in a future episode.
Absolutely. We love hearing from our listeners.
We do.
Your insights are invaluable.
They help us make this show relevant and helpful.
That's what we're here for.
And secondly, if you found this discussion valuable, please do subscribe.
Yes, subscribe.
To Ahmedabad Real Estate Review.
On your favorite platform.
On your favorite podcast platform. And if you know anyone who's considering buying property in this area,
share it with them.
Share this episode.
Spread the knowledge.
It could really help them navigate the process with more confidence.
Absolutely.
So to wrap it all up.
To sum it up.
RERA is a big step.
A huge step.
Towards creating a more secure,
transparent,
accountable real estate market in Ahmedabad.
It really is.
We encourage you to see it as a positive force.
A force for good.
That empowers you.
Absolutely.
As you consider your property investments.
Knowledge is power.
And finally, a quick note. The information we've shared today is for informational purposes only, and it should not be considered financial or legal advice.
Always consult with a professional.
For personalized guidance, consult with a qualified real estate professional.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in to Ahmedabad Real Estate Review.
See you next time.